All right, what's up, everyone? This is Blockchain News Korea again, here with your daily crypto brief. To start things off, we are going to go over this title here: Bitcoin only used for money laundering and speculation, says the Big Short investor. If you guys have seen the movie Big Short, it's based on the investor Steve Eisman, who's very famous for shorting the subprime mortgage market ahead of last decade's financial crisis back in 2008. He's now similarly bearish on a new asset class, cryptocurrency. He has yet to meet anyone who can persuasively argue that cryptocurrencies have social utility. Perhaps he should talk to some people within the industry, maybe perhaps someone like Wences Caceres. But he said, "I'm not an expert on cryptocurrency, but I have my doubts about it. My doubts center on the fact that what's the social utility of cryptocurrency? I'm not talking about blockchain. The technology, I think, has real value, but currency markets are the most liquid, most efficient markets, probably of any markets that exist." He did concede that there are a few exceptions to this rule. Venezuela, for instance, he argued that in developed countries, the only use cases for cryptocurrency are speculative investing and money laundering. He thinks that the social utility in developed countries is very, very small, and the only thing I can really figure out the usage of is that it's good for speculation and it's good for money laundering. So pretty strong words from Steve Eisman regarding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I think this is a pretty telling sort of statement, though. I'm not an expert on cryptocurrency. So if he's not an expert on cryptocurrency, you kind of have to ask yourself, how does he come to these sort of conclusions? What is he, how did he form these opinions? Does he have something against the rise of cryptocurrencies? Since he comes from the traditional Wall Street world, perhaps, the rise of cryptocurrencies doesn't really coincide with his best interests. Obviously, there's no evidence of this, so, you have to kind of sort of come to your own conclusions. On a similar note, e-commerce giant Alibaba's Jack Ma says blockchain is not a bubble, but Bitcoin is. So he said at the Second World Intelligence Conference in Tianjin, saying that blockchain technology is not a bubble, but Bitcoin is, on Wednesday, May 16th. Ma said he has been researching blockchain for years and believes strongly in its potential to address issues of data privacy and security for society at all levels, governments, corporations, and individuals in an era of big data. He stressed that security is a top priority for Alibaba, which reported 39 or nearly $40 billion in revenue in its latest fiscal Q4 earnings release. He added, regrettably, that much of the attention the emerging blockchain industry receives comes from speculators who view blockchain as a huge gold mine. He was wary of Bitcoin even in its huge run-up back in December of 2017, telling CNBC Shanghai at the time, "I don't know about Bitcoin at all. I am particularly puzzled, even if it can really work, the rules of global trade and the financial system will be completely changed. I don't think we are ready." So he's paying attention to Alipay. So it seems like Jack Ma's a little bit more positive than Steve Eisman, although it seems very, very reminiscent of when people were very, very high on intranet, but not on the internet. He does say this sort of statement here, kind of similar to Steve Eisman, where he says, "I don't know about Bitcoin at all." Obviously, he has a huge stake with Alipay. Bitcoin sort of challenges that, so you kind of have to ask yourself once again, why are they making these sort of statements? If it didn't really threaten them, would they have to make a statement like this on the record? So yeah, we'd like to hear your comments on this, on what Jack Ma has to say and what Steve Eisman said about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Do you sort of agree with them, or do you sort of question their motives for coming out and saying these sort of things against the potential benefits of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? So yeah, please leave your comments below on that. The third piece of news here is JPMorgan creates and fills new position of head of crypto assets strategy. So leading U.S. banking group and financial services firm JPMorgan Chase has recently created that new position, as reported by Business Insider on May 17th. London-based Oliver Harris, 29 years old, will take the new role, reporting to the head of blockchain development, Omar Farouk. He will also lead JPMorgan's internal blockchain project, Quorum, which began testing by JPMorgan Chase and the National Bank of Canada last month. So he's going to be responsible for identifying and leading new crypto projects for the bank rather than actively trading in cryptocurrencies, and also investigate crypto custody services and how blockchain could work in JPMorgan's payment business. Quorum, as you guys may or may not know, is the permissioned blockchain for enterprises that JPMorgan is developing. So JPMorgan, sort of famous for having Jamie Dimon saying earlier that he believes that Bitcoin is a fraud and a scam, but on the other side that they are sort of dabbling their feet and really kind of going into blockchains. And as you can see, more and more they are starting to acknowledge and come into the cryptocurrency sphere. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think that it's a bit hypocritical for them to do this? Or do you think that this isn't really much of a factor and it's not really that big of an issue? Last bit of news here. Wall Street Journal research finds red flags in 19% of ICOs. So the Wall Street Journal released findings from its analysis of almost 1,500 ICOs May 17th and concluding that almost 20% of them raised red flags. The latest source to investigate the still booming ICO market, the Wall Street Journal warned that of the 1,450 offerings it found, 271 of them were using what it described as deceptive or even fraudulent tactics. Please check out the website howeycoins.com, HOWEYCOINS.com. It's a website that the SEC put out to sort of inform potential investors on what are classic signs of fraudulent ICOs. So it's a really good website to refer to, and it's a bit of a spoof on what's going on in the scene. On the flip side, we also heard from CZ, the CEO of Binance, when he released a post earlier praising ICOs, investing in which he described as 100 times easier than through traditional VCs. So traditional VCs have that sort of huge entry to barrier for a lot of projects, but he believes that ICOs, they have more pros and cons because it opens up the investing space to a lot of people that might not have normally been able to invest in certain projects. So once again, please do your own research on everything. This is just sort of to inform you guys on what's going on daily in the cryptocurrency sphere, and kind of just ask yourself, why are people making certain statements? Does it go against what interest that they might have? You sort of have to question and sort of ask yourself these questions. Please leave your comments below. We would love to hear your comments and sort of engage with the community. Please hit subscribe on our channel, which is Blockchain News Korea on YouTube, Blockchain News Korea, and follow us on Twitter. Our handle is Block News Korea, Block News Korea. All right, so have a good day and have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you guys on Monday. See you.